You are interested in the unknown, the mysterious, the unexplainable. That is why you are here.
It's rad.
All right. Yeah, that was spiffy. All right. Welcome back to the Code Rad show, where we talk about tiki bars, comic books, and Doctor Who, and maybe some other topics yet to be discovered. Joining me today is Jim. Welcome back to Code Rad, Jim.
Hello, Jason.
Good to have you back. And tonight's topic, the Deadly Assassin. Here, I have a very brief slideshow.
Sure.
Let me put that up. It's only a couple of slides. Let's see. Oh, all right. Bear with me. It's been a while. There we go.
I love that cover.
Yeah, awesome. Target paperback cover artwork for the Deadly Assassin novelization. Terrence Dicks, who was always well known for working on the TV show and doing novelizations. He would frequently novelize his own teleplays, right? I believe, and would do other ones as well, like The Deadly Assassin, which the TV show was written by Robert Holmes, but
yes,
Terrence Dicks took on the novelization duty. And I did a little research on this artwork. I believe it said the artist's name was Mike Little, and he did a few. Okay. Yeah. I never heard that name before, but it looks like he did about 4 Target novelizations. Yeah, awesome cover. A great way to bring the master back. I mean, I'm kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but spoilers. Maybe I should mention, we just, these are 40-year-old shows. I don't think we don't really pay much mind to spoiling it. So I highly recommend you go back and find a way to watch The Deadly Assassin. I think it's on Tubi at the very least, on demand. But there's other ways to see it. See The Deadly Assassin, then come back and watch Code Rad. The Master looks really cool in this episode. He not quite so cool that he has blood dripping off his cowl like he does in this painting, but and I might as well mention it now. I mean, I think this is the first episode that presented Time Lords in this outfit.
Yes.
So they're cool looking, and I mean they've lasted so long. I mean, I think they even used them in the 2000s in the Russell T. Davis era, if I recall correctly, when Timothy Dalton came and played a Gallifreyan, a Time Lord. He was wearing this outfit, wasn't he?
He was indeed, yes. So I'm not sure to describe them, but they are very cool. I do like them, yeah.
I always liked them. It was cool to see the Doctor dressed up as a Time Lord. I guess even in the episode, he was in disguise, right? He was being sneaky when he put on the Time Lord outfit, trying to save the president. But yeah, I mean that is pretty good costume design to last into the 80s and beyond, up into our modern era. I don't know if they used it again after that that Timothy Dalton episode with the Time War and all that, but that's the cover. And I wanted to one of the cool things about this episode, and I never realized it before because it's been decades since I've seen this episode, is that it's very heavily influenced by conspiracy cinema. Yes. And I meant to put another one first. Let's see, but I might as well go with the Parallax View. Parallax View, I think, came out in 1974. Oh, okay. Deadly Assassin came out in 1976. And I definitely don't want to spoil the Parallax View. I think it's like the kind of the ultimate conspiracy movie, but there are some plots parallels to Parallax View with the Deadly Assassin. But this movie is earlier, the 1960s. Manchurian Candidate. And again, similar plot. The one thing is that a lot of these conspiracy movies go into brainwashing and mind control, which The Deadly Assassin doesn't touch, right? There's no brainwashing, no mind control, which is weird because Doctor Who has a lot of that, like throughout its history. That's a pretty frequent plot device, I think.
I do think the Master does hypnotize some people, I think, towards the end of this.
Does he?
I think he does, yeah, because that was his thing.
Okay.
They couldn't use
Yeah.
Rocky Balboa, unfortunately, because he died. He actually was filming a movie in Turkey, and he was in a car, and the guy, for whatever reason, just drove off a cliff. That's just wow. That's just insane.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, I knew he was dead, but I didn't think about the circumstances of his death. But yeah, now that you mention it, yeah, I remember reading about that back in the 80s.
That's crazy. Just like, yeah, it's insane. Just how do you think if you see the edge of the cliff, he's like, okay, stop, but maybe they couldn't stop in time. But yeah, it's really a shame because he was a great Master. He was great, but
for sure.
yeah.
And this costume was a very clever, cool way to bring the Master back, I thought. Anthony Ainley.
Too, yeah.
Anthony Ainley was great, but that was just
yeah.
kind of dressing up another actor to look like the Master. This was really cool, turning the Master into the Crypt Keeper.
Yes.
It's a horrible, terrible monster who all right, so that we've already gone into spoiler territory. One of the things I wanted to mention about the episode was this creepy guy who's lurking in the shadows. Presumably, people watching this show back in the 70s in England wouldn't know who he was. But then in the credits of the first episode, it lists the Master.
Oh.
And I forget the actor's name. I've read it
Peter Pratt, I think it was
yes.
2 actors, I think. Yeah.
Really?
Peter Pratt was one.
So so they give away that's the Master, even though that's supposed to be kind of a surprise, at least until the second or third episode.
Yeah, I think I remember reading also, I think in one of the TV guides, they did give away also that the Master was returning, but I think they should have kept it a secret. But apparently, apparently it wasn't. Apparently, but
they didn't think about spoilers and stuff like that quite so much. But that would be a cool surprise to be watching that episode. And I mean, if you were a real Whovian and you love the Master, and to be surprised that this creepy monster who's controlling everything behind the scenes is actually the Master. That's pretty cool.
It is, yeah. He's back. How did he come back, or how did he still around? But what are they going to do with him? But yeah, I think the episode did get pretty high ratings. So yeah,
very, very good episode. Like other episodes we've talked about on this show, very well paced, very fast paced. First episode was over before I knew it. It really entertaining. Learning about you've got the mystery, you've got a first real look into life on the Doctor's home planet, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, you see mostly the Panopticon or
Panopticon.
Yes, you see mostly that. And unfortunately, the BBC didn't really have the budget that Hollywood, did back then, and still probably doesn't. But at least we get to see a little bit, like a brief glimpse into Gallifreyan culture and what how they dress. And I was surprised to see they had apparently Gallifrey has got TV reporters apparently.
Right. Yeah, that struck me too. Runcible.
Runcible, yes, Runcible.
The Doctor sees him on his TARDIS monitor, I think, and refers to him as Runcible the Fatuous.
Yes, that's right.
So it's kind of funny to think of a Time Lord TV reporter, although not everyone on Gallifrey is a Time Lord, so I'm not sure if Runcible is one.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm not aware of the show Doctor Who ever like clarifying what life on Gallifrey is like. This show kind of hints that the Time Lords are kind of rulers, and maybe like the population of the planet is just regular people working and going to football games and stuff, and these guys are like the Roman Senate, and so
I did see a lot of Roman, the way it was set up. Yeah, I did see a lot of Roman parallels there. Yeah, how they dress and the way their ceremonies. Yeah. Also, it's one thing that struck me is that this is one of the few stories we see where the Doctor is no companion.
Yes, that was a big deal. It was very moving when Sarah Jane left the Doctor. He dropped her off, much to her disappointment, because this was going to be her chance to see Gallifrey. But the last minutes of that previous episode, which again, the title is slipping my mind. Very ominous. That was the Hand of Fear.
Yes.
Yeah, some of these titles I get mixed up because I knew it wasn't the Face of Evil, but Hand of Fear, Face of Evil. I get.
Yeah, right. This has the Eye of Harmony. This episode.
Mm-hmm. So very ominous in the closing moments where the Doctor is summoned to Gallifrey, and to make it even more pretentious, he has to leave Sarah Jane behind because I guess he can't bring an Earthling to Gallifrey with him. So he gets there, and let's see, some humorous dialogue. I think once he sneaks into the Time Lord costume, someone says to him, "Weren't you expelled?" And the Doctor says, "Well, it's all better now." And someone else says, "Have you had a facelift?" And the Doctor says, "Several."
Yeah,
so,
about 2 or 3.
Yeah. So I love humor in Doctor Who, and before I should have mentioned this before, but of course we were talking about how this episode is based on influenced by conspiracy cinema. They even mention the CIA in this episode.
Oh, they do. Yeah,
which is also funny.
Yeah.
On Gallifrey, the CIA is the Celestial Intervention Agency.
Yes, but they got that from of course, yeah.
So another cute nod to movies about conspiracies and political assassinations. I mean, of course, this episode is about a presidential assassination, which is really on the nose. A lot of conspiracy cinema is about presidential assassinations. You want to? You have anything to add, or want to talk about the plot?
Yeah, I guess wherever you want to start. I guess. Let's see. Well, I think one thing I think we can think about is so I think Tom Baker wanted to convince them that he could carry the show on his own, no companions. Yeah. But I think the powers that be felt, well, I think you do need somebody to play off of. And I think he was just saying, well, can't I just talk to myself? I'm like, well, yeah, you could, but we think it's better if you do have and I think they were right. But one thing I was just trying to get to the bottom of, and maybe folks watching, you can leave your comments what you think. The Doctor's, I think, better with companions, but why? Why is he better companions? And maybe we see, maybe the companion can be like a device of where we see things through their eyes.
Sure, yeah. That I would think is part of it. The companion, I think, has been most of the time human and Earthling. Not all the time, but I mean, one of my favorite companions, probably my favorite companion, was Leela, who was, of course, a barbarian woman from another planet. So that's not someone I could relate too much to in my personal life, but she was a really fantastic character.
She was. I like Leela too, very much, yeah. But I think most of them were humans, except for
and from modern era, usually.
Yeah. They're still, humans as far as I know. But yeah, I guess also maybe kind of keeps the Doctor kind of grounded somewhat, I think. Because I think there's some things in the show that we don't really maybe not understand, but we can kind of see it through, companions' eyes, and they're about as confused as we are sometimes. So yeah.
Yeah, to be able to see the adventures through the companion's eyes, someone we can relate to more, and also so they can explain things through dialogue.
Yes. Okay,
Tom Baker said, I'll just talk to myself if there's like exposition we need to share with the audience. And, I think, Tom Baker was, very full of himself, and he thought, well, I can carry the show all by myself. Whereas, all the producers, writers, the TV production professionals probably knew that you need other characters in there too.
You do, yeah.
So you can have the dialogue. Dialogue is a major way of, explaining what's going on to the viewer. So
that makes sense. I think they're all right. And he does seem the kind of guy. I think he kind of got worse as time went on. But I think, he was a guy that was pretty full of himself, like on the Star, and don't you forget it. But he was brilliant, and I think he's your favorite, Tom Baker, your favorite Doctor.
Absolutely, yeah. He's easily my favorite Doctor, and he's great in this episode.
I think most folks would say, their favorite's either Tom Baker or David Tennant. But it's kind of funny. There's an episode of The Simpsons where Mayor Quimby goes, "Hey, RAD, bring out the Council of Television," and you see it's Urkel. I think Krusty's one. I'm trying. There's 4 of them, but one of them is actually is Tom Baker.
Yes.
And it was just so out of nowhere. And I just was on the floor laughing. It was like, because just Doctor Who in the 90s was pretty obscure. The TV movie, I don't think it debuted on Fox yet, and it had been off the air for years. But just see, Tom Baker out of nowhere, it just was hilarious.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. That was great because like you said, Doctor Who was very obscure in the 90s. I felt like I was the only Doctor Who fan left in the world at that point. So to see, Tom Baker on The Simpsons, that was hilarious as one of, the 4 top icons of television, of all the decades of television, to present Tom Baker as one of the 4 illustrious ambassadors of television. I thought that was hilarious. That was great.
I remember now. It was Urkel, the 4th Doctor, Krusty, and Kent Brockman was number 4. He was
right.
The newscaster. Yeah, he was the worst. Okay. Just see him, just like, and the likeness was like perfect.
Yes.
They got of him. It's from the eyes and the scarf, and they just it was beautiful. It was perfect.
Right. Yeah. I mean, for me, the two big that The Simpsons had 2 big references. One was Tom Baker. The other one was the comic book shop guy with the wheelbarrow of tacos.
Yes.
This should provide enough sustenance for the Doctor Who marathon.
I think there's another one where he's comic book guys. He's this villain called the Collector. And he's like, "I am now adding Lucy Lawless and Tom Baker to my collection," and you see both of them like under under plastic, trying to get out. But that was another.
Not sure I remember that one.
The Collector.
So after. All right, so the plot of the show is a presidential assassination, but of course, like the big, centerpiece, the main point of the show, kind of, is the Matrix.
Yes.
Which, of course, let all us Doctor Who nerds be like in 1999 when the Matrix came out, just be like, oh, they just ripped this off from Doctor Who.
Exactly.
It's very similar in so many ways, not just the name Matrix, but just about everything about it was pretty similar.
Everything looks real, but it's not. It's it's everything just a big, one giant computer program.
Right. And I mean, one difference is, the Keanu Reeves Matrix was meant to look like a realistic world, whereas in the Deadly Assassin, we begin in a quarry, which is realistic for Doctor Who. That's where a lot of Doctor Who episodes take place. But then all of a sudden, we've got a samurai, and a surgeon with a giant needle, and a dinosaur egg, and a biplane from World War I. There's a lot of World War I imagery, I think, in this. And I forgot to write this in my notes, but of course, a creepy clown.
Yes. In the sand, he like digs the sand, and then there's a clown like laughing, like hee hee. Yeah, that was pretty terrifying. And the biplane was kind of a north by northwest reference, because everyone knows that shot of Cary Grant running towards the camera, and the plane's like just like zooming in after him. And of course the hunter.
Yeah, the hunter was pretty cool. He's totally mysterious. We know that he's like the master's henchman.
Yes.
And so he is hunting the doctor. We know the doctor is trying to find the actual assassin, and now the assassin is hunting the doctor. So then also we have in addition to all the weirdness, like the doctor getting his scarf cut by a samurai sword.
Yes, that's a first.
yeah. I mean, I think the doctor using his scarf for a utilitarian purpose, that was a first that I can remember. I mean, maybe I'm forgetting something, but he's using his scarf to prevent himself from falling off a cliff.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yep.
And that was a pretty steep fall he had. That was pretty far.
That was, yeah, it was. Those quarries, man, they're dangerous as quarries.
yeah, for sure. So the doctor's strategy is the assassin, the henchman. He's using a lot of energy to maintain the matrix.
Yes.
And what I was going. All right. So where I was going before is this is like a survival tale.
Yes.
You've got the crazy stuff. I didn't even mention it. He almost gets the doctor almost gets run over by a train. But there's a lot of survival stuff. Two men facing off, trying to survive. We learned that the doctor needs water. I was like, modern day Doctor Who is fairly godlike, but back in the day, doctor would need a glass of water, or he'd get thirsty. And so, of course, he makes a blowgun.
Yes.
Poison darts.
Very clever.
And and how does the henchman? This is Goth, right?
Yes, that is Goth.
He's Chancellor Goth or something like that. How did Goth end up dying?
Oh, jeez, because I saw it last night. I should remember.
Did the master actually kill him? Give him a injection?
I think he did. He's like, well, I don't need you anymore.
Yeah.
I think he was shot.
Yeah, maybe he wasn't strong enough to maintain the Matrix anymore.
I think also this master's is like, well, you've no longer have any use for me, so
Oh, yes. Yeah, Master uses all kinds of weapons in this. His compressor, I think they call it.
Yes.
His weapon that shrinks people. Yeah. I remember that mainly from the John Nathan Turner era.
Yes.
But that could be a little silly. It was okay in this episode. They shot the dolls from angles where they didn't look too silly when someone got murdered by the master, got turned into a Barbie doll.
Apparently, they used a so G.I. Joe over there in Britain is referred to as called Action Man.
Oh, right.
They got an Action Man doll. I'm just like, yep, that's good. It's like,
oh, okay, yeah, And reading up about this episode, I read Action Man a couple times. I didn't realize what they were referring to. All right.
I'm not sure why they changed the name, but
yeah.
Also, I know it's kind of off topic, but the turtles over there, they're called Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, not Ninja Hero.
Hmm.
So I'm not sure why, but I guess ninjas are I guess ninjas are essentially assassins. I guess that could be a reason why. But yeah, it just feels odd.
Yeah, I think I think I did hear this once, and I think it's because they decided it was determined that ninjas were too violent for children. But of course, this was. But thank you for bringing that up, because that was one of the things about this episode. It was one of the more complained about ones, and I mean, if I hadn't known, I don't think I would have guessed in in 100 years that the scene that got people upset was Tom Baker getting drowned.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sure that was pretty scary and stuff to kids, but just watching it myself, it would not strike me to be like, oh, that's a really extreme scene.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe that that lady, here we go, Mary Whitehouse, was a British teacher and conservative activist who was on a mission to sort of clean up British TV.
Yeah.
That organization, the National Viewer and Listener, National Viewers and Listeners Association, which but she was offended, like people like Benny Hill and Dave Allen. She thought that she was gay.
Oh, right, yeah.
She tried to ban, get this, that Chuck Berry song, "My Ding-a-ling." My ding-a-ling. She tried to get that banned. And while she wasn't successful with that, she was able to convince Top of the Pops to stop featuring "School's Out" by Alice Cooper.
Oh, really?
And apparently, though, Alice Cooper eventually sent her flowers because of that. His song went to #1 because they wanted to find out more about it.
So she was the Streisand effect before Barbra Streisand.
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much. Yeah. She called Doctor Who a sort of like tea time brutality for tots. So she doesn't like Doctor Who at all, and she claimed that this episode about the blood and mostly the drowning, but they had to whoever was in charge of the BBC at the time they had them change the ending, and they sent her an apology letter. But just like I said, I don't think, compared to things I've seen from other countries, that was like nothing.
Right. Yeah.
That was nothing. Yeah. So I've seen some pretty graphic, gory things, and that was pretty tame, I think.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they did edit the ending when it was broadcast, and somehow I think they put it back together for the DVD release.
They did, yeah.
Tom Baker, being submerged in water instead of just Chancellor Roth saying, "Die, Doctor, die." So.
And apparently just from an off-air recording, but
yeah,
I guess people had VCRs in 1974, I guess, or 76. Like, I guess some people probably did.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they. Yeah, how. I mean, I think I read that they reconstructed it, whatever that means. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I never. Yeah, it didn't look, out of place or anything. It seemed seamless.
Yeah,
so I'm not sure how they reconstructed that. It's just a few seconds of. So there's also like a cover up about the assassination. Even though the Doctor doesn't have companions in this episode, he kind of teams up with a couple of Time Lords. He's able to convince them that he's innocent. And so there's a couple of Time Lords who help him solve the problem. So they're kind of like the companions for this episode. Yeah. And so, a lot of stuff happens. They decide that, we'll just kind of cover this up. We don't want the people to know the truth about this, why the president died. And at one point they think the master is dead.
Yes.
They actually find his corpse. Well, even when he was alive, he was a corpse. Now he's like a double corpse. But he comes back, and it's a pretty exciting, fantastic ending. To me, I thought this was like a very Star Trek kind of ending. The Doctor's like in a fist fight. It's all action. Doctor is fighting the Master, who is like this horrible, crypt keeper type of character. And this obelisk rises up out of the floor, and there's all this Time Lord stuff. The we learn a lot about Rassilon. That's another aspect of it.
That's right. They do mention him. Yeah.
Like Rassilon, I guess, was like the first Time Lord. He
yes, I believe so.
Harnessed the power of time black hole, I think, to give the Time Lords time travel.
Was that or the Eye of Harmony or one of something like that? Yeah.
The Eye of Harmony. That might be the name of the black hole. But yeah, so you got the sash. You've got other Time Lord artifacts, and there's a giant chasm opens that the Doctor throws the Master into.
Yeah, pretty cool. Great episode. I found something interesting. If you want to hear.
Yeah, absolutely.
The writer Robert Holmes. So going back to episode 3, we're kind of looks like he's in a jungle. So I didn't know this. Apparently, Robert Holmes was a member of the Queen's Own. He joined the Queen's Own Cameron Highlanders, which is like a British infantry regiment of the British Army, or it was.
Okay.
And he actually fought in Burma when he was younger. So he kind of wanted to get that tropical warfare feeling in that in episode 3 that we see in the jungle, and kind of that kind of claustrophobic feeling, and also needing water and just your time's running out.
Yeah.
So I never knew that. Or even with the Queen's Own Cameron Highlanders, who they were. But yeah.
No, thank you. I appreciate that. As a young Whovian, I recognized Robert Holmes' name being on a lot of my favorite Doctor Who episodes. And now, as an old geezer, I think I know very little about him. I don't even remember when he died. I think he died quite a while ago, because you watch some of these extra features, and like even Philip Hinchcliffe, he's in these documentaries for the Deadly Assassinate. Philip Hinchcliffe, I think, was the story editor. No, I think Robert Holmes was a story editor. Philip Hinchcliffe was kind of like what we call now the showrunner, the executive producer or whatever. I'm sure I'm not getting his title right. I think, actually I read that he got fired at the end of the season, probably because of that drowning scene in The Deadly Assassin.
Okay.
But anyway, Philip Hinchcliffe, I think he was kind of in charge of the show during some of the best seasons when they really got into the gothic horror and stuff. And he's in this, documentary on the Deadly Assassin DVD. Doesn't look that old. I mean, I'm sure it was recorded a few years ago, but he looks fine. And so it's sad that I'd love to learn more about Robert Holmes, but I don't think I've ever seen him on video or film or anything like that.
Yeah, no, I think he died in the 80s, I think.
Wow,
a while ago. So yeah. I think it's kind of great though. Tom Baker's he's still kicking. He's like 90 and he's still going. That's amazing.
Yeah. And now you see, he got so fat in the 90s, and now
I remember that. Yeah, I look like somebody's
he's thin again. Yeah.
Like someone's gran.
Yeah. But, he's gotten really skinny. So I mean, hopefully that's good. I hope he's in good health. I hope he sticks around for a while.
Yeah, likewise.
So I mean, that's all I've got for the episode. Anything else you want to add?
I think it's about it. So no companions. No, I think that's about it. So if those are watching, we highly recommend going back and seeing going back to the Doctor's earlier roots. And I think most people, when you ask them who's your favorite Doctor, they'll say either Tom Baker or David Tennant, and you'll see why, because he is even if a Tom Baker episode is bad, he's still good. Just with those those the wide eyes and the smile, and just just so iconic, and always adding a sense of humor to the character, but with a little bit of a sense of humor, but a little bit of fierceness, here and there. But
absolutely, yeah.
I think BritBox has all the classic episodes of William Hartnell, Dr. Trout, and whatever's left, John Pertwee, Tom Baker. So I think you can see it through BritBox, or like Jason said too. But definitely go back and watch it. It's a great episode. And
yeah. I try to limit the number of streaming services I have. Maybe I should go ahead and get BritBox.
Yeah,
because
I would say definitely worth having. I think they do have some missing episodes that they reconstructed or animated. And I think they had their. I think some of those are on there too. I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind watching some of those.
Yeah.
All right,
Definitely.
so
all right,
that is a emphatic recommend from both Jim and I for the Deadly Assassin. Everyone out there knows how to find it. Go ahead, and we'll be back with more classic Doctor Who, tiki bars, and comic books.
Indeed.
Thanks,
so hit
Jim.
that like button and subscribe.
Absolutely. Yeah, you smash that like button. Yes. All right. Bye, everyone. See you in the TARDIS.
Take care, everybody. Arrivederci.